Most people believe manipulation is obvious. They imagine a controlling boss, a dishonest salesperson, or someone openly trying to influence them. But the truth is far more unsettling. The most powerful mind games are almost invisible. They don't rely on force. They rely on psychology. They quietly influence the way you think, how you feel, and the decisions you make, often without you realizing it's happening. The frightening part is that these mind games aren't only used by strangers. Sometimes they're used by friends, sometimes by coworkers, sometimes by family members, and sometimes by people who genuinely believe they're doing nothing wrong. The purpose of this video isn't to make you suspicious of everyone. It's to help you recognize unhealthy psychological patterns so you can think more clearly, set healthier boundaries, and make decisions that truly belong to you. By the end of this video, you'll understand 10 hidden mind games people commonly use, why they work so well, and, most importantly, how to protect yourself without becoming fearful or cynical. Before we uncover the first hidden mind game, if you're passionate about psychology, human behavior, emotional intelligence, and learning how the human mind really works, make sure you subscribe to Human Behavior Secrets and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our weekly psychology videos. And if you find value in today's lesson, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps us reach more people who want to understand themselves, recognize manipulation, and build a stronger, wiser mindset. Now, let's uncover the first hidden mind game. Lesson 1. They make you question your own reality. One of the oldest psychological control tactics is causing someone to doubt their own memory, judgment, or perception. Imagine confronting someone about something they clearly said yesterday. Instead of discussing the issue honestly, they respond with complete confidence. "I never said that. You're remembering it wrong. You're too sensitive." At first, you defend yourself because you're certain of what happened. But after hearing these responses repeatedly, something begins to change. You stop trusting your own memory. You begin wondering whether you're overreacting. Eventually, you may start depending on the other person to tell you what's real. That's exactly why this tactic is so powerful. It doesn't control your actions directly. It weakens your confidence in your own judgment. Psychologically, our brains naturally seek certainty. When someone repeatedly challenges our perception with confidence, many people begin doubting themselves instead of questioning the other person's motives. The healthiest response isn't to argue endlessly. It's to calmly trust evidence, pay attention to consistent patterns, and remember that healthy relationships encourage clarity, not confusion. People who respect you don't constantly make you question your own reality. They help you understand it more clearly. Lesson 2. They use guilt to control your decisions. Guilt can be a healthy emotion when it encourages responsibility. But in the wrong hands, guilt becomes a powerful tool for manipulation. Instead of asking honestly for help, a manipulative person may say, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this. I guess I'll just handle everything myself. After everything I've done for you." Notice what's happening. The conversation is no longer about solving the problem together. It's about making you feel responsible for another person's emotions. Many caring people fall into this trap because they naturally want others to feel happy and supported. Manipulators understand this. They know that guilt often works faster than logic. Over time, you may begin saying yes to things you don't actually want to do, not because you agree, but because you want the uncomfortable feeling of guilt to disappear. Real respect doesn't require emotional pressure. Healthy relationships allow people to say yes or no without fear of being punished emotionally. The next time someone makes you feel guilty for setting a reasonable boundary, pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I making this decision because it's right, or because I'm afraid of disappointing someone? That single question can protect your freedom more than you realize. Lesson 3. They give you just enough approval to keep you chasing it. One of the most effective mind games isn't criticism. It's inconsistency. Imagine working with someone who praises you one day, ignores you the next, and suddenly becomes warm again after you've started questioning yourself. At first, it seems confusing. You begin wondering what changed. Was it something you said? Something you did? Without realizing it, your attention shifts away from your own goals and toward earning their approval again. Psychologists refer to this pattern as intermittent reinforcement. It's the same psychological principle that makes unpredictable rewards so powerful. Because you never know when the next moment of approval will come, your brain keeps hoping that the next effort will finally earn it. This can happen in friendships, romantic relationships, workplaces, and even on social media. The danger isn't simply feeling disappointed. The danger is allowing another person's unpredictable behavior to determine your self-worth. Healthy relationships are built on consistency. Respect shouldn't feel like a reward you constantly have to earn. If someone only values you when it's convenient for them, ask yourself whether you're chasing genuine respect or simply chasing occasional validation. Never allow inconsistent approval to become the foundation of your confidence. Your confidence should come from your own character, not someone else's unpredictable reactions. Lesson 4. They create false urgency, so you stop thinking clearly. Have you ever noticed how some people pressure you to make an important decision immediately? They might say, "You need to decide right now. This opportunity won't be here tomorrow. If you wait, you'll regret it." The purpose isn't always to help you act quickly. Sometimes it's to prevent you from thinking carefully. When the human brain feels rushed, it naturally relies more on emotion than careful reasoning. Fear of missing out begins replacing logical thinking. That's exactly why false urgency is such an effective manipulation tactic. It encourages quick decisions before you've had time to ask important questions. This doesn't only happen in business. It happens in relationships. It happens in family situations. It happens whenever someone benefits from your impulsive decision. Mentally strong people understand something important. Most truly valuable opportunities survive careful thinking. If someone genuinely respects you, they won't be threatened by reasonable questions or a little extra time. The next time someone pressures you with unnecessary urgency, pause before responding. Take a breath. Ask questions. Give yourself permission to think. A wise decision made slowly is almost always better than a rushed decision you'll regret later. Lesson 5. They compare you to other people to make you feel smaller. Comparison has the power to quietly damage confidence. Some people know exactly how to use it. Instead of appreciating your strengths, they constantly point towards someone else's achievements. Why can't you be more like your brother? Look how successful your coworker is. Everyone else seems to handle this better than you. These statements rarely inspire growth. Instead, they create insecurity. When comparison becomes constant, your focus shifts from improving yourself to competing for approval. Psychologically, comparison activates feelings of inadequacy because the brain naturally measures its own value against others. Manipulative people understand this. The more insecure you become, the easier you may be to influence. But there's something comparison never tells you. You are comparing your entire life to someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their fears, their failures, their private struggles. You only see the parts they choose to reveal. Real growth begins the moment you stop asking, "Am I better than someone else?" and start asking, "Am I becoming better than I was yesterday?" The healthiest competition you'll ever have is with the person you were yesterday. That's the comparison that builds confidence instead of destroying it. Lesson 6. They keep moving the goalposts. Imagine working as hard as you can to meet someone's expectations. You finally accomplish what they asked for. Instead of acknowledging your effort, they immediately raise the standard. Now they expect something even bigger. You achieve that too. Once again, it's still not enough. No matter how much progress you make, the finish line keeps moving farther away. This is a subtle but powerful psychological tactic. It's called moving the goalposts. The purpose isn't to encourage growth. The purpose is to make you feel like you're constantly falling short. Over time, this creates self-doubt. You begin believing you're never good enough, even when you've accomplished far more than most people. This tactic is often used in unhealthy relationships, demanding workplaces, and controlling friendships. Psychologically, people crave a sense of achievement. When that feeling is constantly withheld, many continue working even harder, hoping the next success will finally earn approval. But the approval never truly comes. Mentally strong people recognize this pattern early. They understand that healthy people celebrate progress, give honest feedback, and appreciate genuine effort. If someone's expectations always change the moment you meet them, the problem may not be your performance. It may be their desire to keep control. Never allow someone else's impossible standards to define your value. Lesson 7. They make you feel responsible for their happiness. One of the most emotionally exhausting mind games is making another person feel responsible for emotions they didn't create. It often begins with statements like, "You made me angry. You ruined my day. If you loved me, I wouldn't feel this way." At first, These words may seem harmless, but repeated over time, they can reshape the way you think. You begin believing it's your job to keep everyone around you emotionally comfortable. So you avoid honest conversations. You ignore your own needs. You apologize even when you've done nothing wrong. And little by little, you lose your sense of emotional freedom. Here's an important psychological truth. You are responsible for your behavior. You are not responsible for managing another adult's emotions. Healthy relationships involve empathy and kindness, but they also recognize personal responsibility. Emotionally mature people express their feelings without making someone else carry the entire emotional burden. The next time someone tries to make you responsible for every emotion they experience, pause and ask yourself, am I being caring? Or am I being controlled? That question can help you separate compassion from manipulation. Lesson 8. They use silence as a weapon instead of communication. Silence can be healthy. Sometimes people simply need space to think or calm down. But there is another kind of silence. Silence that is intentionally used to punish. Imagine trying to resolve a disagreement. Instead of talking, the other person completely ignores you. No explanation, no conversation, no response to your messages. Days pass, and you're left wondering what happened. You replay every conversation in your mind. You begin blaming yourself. Eventually, you may apologize just to end the uncomfortable silence, even if you weren't the one at fault. That's exactly why this tactic can be so powerful. It creates anxiety, and anxious people often become easier to influence. Psychologically, human beings are wired for connection. Being ignored activates many of the same emotional systems associated with physical pain. Manipulative people may use this knowledge, consciously or unconsciously, to pressure others into giving in. Healthy people don't use silence to gain power. They communicate. They explain when they need space. They return to difficult conversations with respect and honesty. If someone repeatedly uses silence to punish or control you, remember this. Real communication solves problems. Weaponized silence creates them. Never confuse emotional distance with emotional maturity. The strongest relationships are built on honest conversations, not silent control. Lesson 9. They pretend to be the victim to escape responsibility. One of the most confusing mind games is when someone hurts you, but somehow, by the end of the conversation, you find yourself apologizing to them. How does that happen? Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they quickly shift the focus to their own pain. They might say, I can't believe you think so badly of me. After everything I've been through, this is how you treat me? I guess I'm always the bad person. Suddenly, the original issue disappears. Instead of discussing what actually happened, you're now comforting the very person who caused the problem. This tactic works because most people are naturally compassionate. When someone appears hurt, our first instinct is often to comfort them. Manipulative people, whether intentionally or not, can use that instinct to avoid accountability. But empathy should never replace honesty. It's possible to understand someone's feelings while still holding them responsible for their actions. Healthy relationships allow both people to admit mistakes, apologize sincerely, and work toward a solution. If every disagreement somehow ends with you carrying all the blame, take a step back and ask yourself, are we solving the problem, or are we simply changing the subject? True emotional maturity accepts responsibility instead of hiding behind victimhood. Lesson 10. They isolate you so their voice becomes the loudest. One of the most dangerous mind games doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly. At first, someone may casually criticize your closest friends. Then they question your family's intentions. Later, they suggest that no one understands you the way they do. Little by little, your support system begins to shrink. Without realizing it, you start relying more and more on one person's opinions. Why is this so effective? Because our thinking becomes weaker when we lose healthy outside perspectives. Trusted friends and family often notice unhealthy patterns long before we do. When those voices disappear, manipulation becomes much easier. This doesn't mean everyone who encourages private time is being controlling. Healthy relationships respect your independence. They celebrate your friendships. They encourage strong family connections. They don't fear them. One of the greatest forms of mental strength is maintaining relationships with people who genuinely want the best for you. Never allow anyone to convince you that caring people are your enemies simply because they ask difficult questions. The strongest minds are built through wisdom, not isolation. Conclusion. The truth is, not every difficult person is trying to manipulate you. Sometimes people act from fear, insecurity, or unhealthy habits they learned long ago. But understanding these hidden mind games gives you something incredibly valuable: awareness. Once you recognize these patterns, they begin losing their power over you. You stop reacting automatically. You begin responding thoughtfully. You learn to set healthy boundaries without becoming cold or unkind. Remember, the goal isn't to become suspicious of everyone around you. The goal is to become emotionally intelligent enough to recognize when respect is present and when control is quietly taking its place. Real confidence doesn't come from controlling other people. It comes from controlling your own decisions. The more clearly you understand human behavior, the harder it becomes for manipulation to control your life. Knowledge gives you freedom. Self-awareness gives you strength. And wisdom helps you protect both. If you found these lessons valuable, take a moment to like this video. It tells YouTube to share this message with more people who can benefit from understanding the psychology of manipulation and emotional intelligence. Subscribe to Human Behavior Secrets for more videos on psychology, human behavior, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our future videos. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these hidden mind games have you experienced the most, and how did you deal with it? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone else recognize a pattern they've been struggling with. If you know someone who needs to hear these lessons, share this video with them today. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning, keep observing, keep thinking for yourself. And remember, the greatest protection against manipulation is a mind that understands how manipulation works. I'll see you in the next video.